So I have 3 children, ages 12, 7, and 1. And my 12-year-old just told me a few days ago that she is questioning her gender and would like to use the she, her pronouns, but only in safe places because my ex, her dad, is still a fundamental Baptist Christian. And I'm just looking for advice because I'm still very new to the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything.
No, absolutely. That sounds a little intimidating, terrifying even. I don't know necessarily what the relationship with dad is like or whether there's a safety there. I mean, it's one thing to disagree. It's another to be an asshole. It's another on top of that to be a violent asshole. So let's very much hope that that's not something that you're looking at. But I think that it makes sense, even at that young age, for there to be a little bit of code switching, you know, that sort of internalized idea in your child that some things are accepted in some places and not in others. And it's terribly unfortunate. I want to be very clear that we would never ask her to do that, but it may be the reality of the world in which she lives in. How safe do you feel? What has been the feedback from dad, or is there not yet any?
He was abusive towards me. So, just because I wasn't normal.
Sure.
And,
what do you mean by that?
He was, psychologically and mentally and verbally and financially abusive.
What was his definition of normal?
I don't know.
Just that super conventional submissive woman.
Yes. I guess that's what he would consider normal. Like, the typical, what are those movies? Those Christian movies where, like,
basically anything starring Kirk Cameron after 1992.
Hallmark, Hallmark Channel.
Nice. Herself when she goes out with her friends, and the dads have to take care of the kids, and it's kind of like this Christian comedy. Well, those women would be a little too dramatic for him.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, it sounds like there are some very real fears, and that's a terrifying situation to be in. So I want to couch everything that I might recommend in making sure that safety comes first. You know, I would hate to ever ask a 12-year-old to stifle their expression in any kind of way, you know, whether that's, you know, learning the barriers around wearing goth makeup to school or like interacting with that sort of dynamic. This is far beyond that in terms of the risk that's taken on. And so I got to say that's really devastating. At the same time, I would suggest to you that it's not abnormal or unhealthy at age 12 to be really bringing these types of things up. It's not uncommon, and it's not a sign of a real problem. It is uncomfortable just because of the circumstances that surrounds her situation. So, you know, there are books I might recommend. One we've talked about a lot on this show is How to Understand Your Gender by Meg John Barker. I think that might be something useful for you to get a lexicon, you know, how to have that verbiage on how to have those conversations. I would also point you towards Sex Positive Families, an organization that we've hosted here on the show that has some incredible resources and lists of books and all kinds of wonderful information about how to be having those conversations with kids. But I want to again say that the most important thing is that she feels safe. And if you can establish that safety, then there's going to be a lot more opportunity for expression and exploration and, you know, bringing these things to light. And it may come to find out that, you know, trans female is not the right label. That may not be their identity, but that might be a place to start as, you know, these things are fluid and as people are developing, beginning to understand them a little bit better and giving her a chance to explore that.
Okay.
Well, one thing I've noticed too is that oftentimes kids know almost instinctively when there are areas and places that are not as safe and open to express themselves. But if you give them, if you give them an outlet you know, say at home or when you're in this environment or that environment to explore and be yourself and to know that you're loved and you're not judged, then, you know, but your kid may still know that, hey, you know, my dad is not someone that I can do this around. That is a valuable lesson because, you know, as much as it sucks, there are people out in the world who will behave the same way, who are not family, and some of them are violent, some of them are dangerous. And I don't say that to scare you or your child, but it's something that you have to kind of learn, like places that, and it shouldn't have to be like this, but to give them an outlet where they can express themselves can help your kid to develop and to learn and to grow and stuff in a healthy way that's non-judgmental, but then at the same time know that there's places where, you know, you have to tread softly. You have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I do like that
no.
idea of establishing a safe space, like a particular, you know, we're going to, at home, do all of this and maybe go a little excessive and like kind of get the wiggles out a little bit and just see how that feels. And I guess I would just encourage you to really use language that lets them know that you wish that this was the case everywhere. And when there's opportunity for it, to really encourage it, but also, you know, let them know that this judgment is not because of them. It's not their fault. It's not, you know, something that she did or is. It's just an unfortunate external force, and trying to be very careful about internal versus external right and wrong.
Okay.
Well, I hope all of that helps, and we'll definitely post a link to how to understand your gender, as well as some other resources in the notes. But otherwise, I really appreciate you calling in. I hope that helps, and I guess I would say I think this is a really exciting time in a young person's life, in a parent's life, in a family's life, watching people bloom and become themselves and really express themselves. So there's a lot of excitement there, even if we really want to kind of harp on the safety side of things.
And I guess the only thing that I would add in, first off, you're getting love in the live chat. If you haven't reached out to the ACA online, we do have lots and lots of people who are willing to and happy to talk about issues like this and others. Mm-hmm. Also, online there are tons of parent groups of people who are in the same situation, wanting to reach out and kind of get those resources from each other. I highly suggest you check it out, because it may feel very much like you're trying to, you know, wade into this and not exactly knowing which way. But there are people who have forged through this kind of path who might be able to give you advice and share their life experience. And that can be really helpful too.
Yeah, being in community is something we would always recommend. So I hope that ours, I know that ours has a place for you. And so I hope that it's a good fit. And if not here, then somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. You have a great night. All right. Well, we are out of the gates and humming, guys.
All right.
All right. You ready for another call?
If you would
Let's
like.
do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. It was a rhetorical question,
okay,
guys.
Cool.
Yeah. We know whose show this is. Don't tell Megan I said that.
Bathroom and, you know.
It's fine. We don't need you. This is my show. Don't tell Megan.
I'm telling Megan.